Hello and welcome to Romantasy Readers Podcast. As you know, my name is Nicole and I am here with Ali. Now, before we get started into today's actual episode, Ali and I have just been talking and I did not know that Ali does not know what 2-minute noodles are. Like I had to go and make my son a snack because he's home from school today. And I'm like, I'm making him 2-minute noodles. And Ali's like, what's that? And I'm like, 2-minute noodles, like they don't have 2-minute noodles. Like these are 2-minute noodles, guys. Okay, these are very popular in Australia. A popular after-school snack, kid snack. They're literally chicken-flavored noodles. They are super plain, super tasty. I honestly have to cook these about 3 times a day for my kids. They are just really they taste like a chicken-flavored potato chip. No, you will. Actually, maybe you can. No. Actually, you can actually. You can stovetop or you can microwave. We always do it on the stovetop. We just boil the water, then you put them in for 2 minutes, and then you add the flavoring, stir it around, empty the water, and you're all done. But you can actually microwave it as well. But I don't think anyone does. No, wait. You have to tell me when you do you have tea? Do you have a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Do you actually boil your water or do you microwave it?
Neither, actually. Okay. I have, because my husband, gosh, you're learning a lot about both Nicole and I at the start of this episode today.
Yeah.
My husband is incredibly picky about water. It's so weird. He will not drink even filtered water from the fridge. It has to be spring water. So we have one of those little bubblers, and we get those big 10-gallon or 5-gallon jugs delivered to our house every month. And the nice thing about it is it has a little hot, because it's plugged into the wall.
Okay.
So the water just will come out perfectly at whatever the right temperature is. Yeah. But if I did not have that, I would boil it. I would not microwave it. So I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. You're not a microwaver. You're not I think that's been going around lately that English people are shocked by.
I know, right? Yeah, I do not
microwaving their tea.
I'm not that bad of an American.
You're dignified. You're dignified, right?
I'm a dignified American. Yeah, I will say those look very similar to what's called ramen in the U.S. Yeah. Okay. There. Yeah. So you have
Indomie.
No, that's not the brand. It's a different brand in the U.S.
Okay.
It starts with M or something. But the ramen is more kind of marketed as an Asian food, not just 2-minute noodles. So we don't have anything like that in the US.
Yeah. These are, I guess they're Asian inspired maybe but they're not. The only way that they're Asian is that they're noodles. Otherwise they're the most Aussie snack you could really have, because they're just really simple flavored. Whereas these ones, my middle son, he's leveled up to these ones now, which are more spicy but super flavored. So these ones are more of a meager ring. So these are more Asian inspired kind of noodles, more flavorsome. More for the dignified palate when you want a 2-minute noodle, but you also want some additional flavors. Hence, he's leveled up to these from his 2-minute noodles. So there you go, guys. Something.
Well, this is a very appropriate way to start our episode, because we're talking about Zodiac Academy.
Yes.
And the food in Zodiac Academy is very important.
It's all, I swear, Geraldine talks about the whole time. She's just forever baking freaking bagels and, eating that, which I love. That's great. Love a good baked good. It's very important. And I love, and I do love just.
Bagels are one of my favorite foods. If I could eat a bagel every morning for breakfast, I would. It's my favorite, if I go to a bakery, I'm not getting a croissant. I'm not getting a sweet treat. I'm getting an everything bagel. That's an Asiago bagel. Ooh, so good.
I don't know how they're skinny with that many carbohydrates. They're definitely doing a lot of working out.
Okay. The magic burns calories.
That's right. It's hugely calorie burning. But it's I do enjoy though a book where you also have all those mundane aspects. You just have them eating at the cafeteria and they talk about the foods and that. I actually really quite enjoy those little random aspects of a book. But then when it kind of carries on to such a degree, you're like, okay, let's get it. We've got bagels in every scene. They're very important. They're obviously delicious. I swear they're going to bring out a recipe book from Zodiac Academy at some stage and have Geraldine's bagel recipe because
as much as they are eating in the books, they're only ever eating bagels. They're only ever at breakfast. There are no other meals. No other meals
no,
are depicted.
only
But breakfast is
alcohol,
depicted
only
almost every
alcohol.
day. The authors, the Twisted Sisters just must really love breakfast and bagels. That might be like their favorite meal of the day, which I can relate. I don't like breakfast at breakfast time. I don't ever really want to eat when I wake up, but I love like a 1 p.m., 2 p.m. breakfast. Like,
Yeah.
so good.
I love pancakes.
We should give maybe some spoiler warnings here before we dive in.
It's all right. I feel like the bagels aren't a massive spoiler,
The
guys.
bagels are not.
You'll be all right. It's
anywhere
not going to
on the
ruin
internet.
anything major for you.
No.
But obviously today we are talking about Zodiac Academy. Now we're going to be talking about books 1 to 6 because that is where Ali is up to. I have finished the 9 books. By some miracle, I managed to get them finished. I have not read any of the additionals. I've not read the novellas. I have not read the Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac Academy. Not that I've heard it's amazing, so that is on my TBR, but I've not read it at this stage. By the time I finished these books, I really needed a Zodiac Academy break. But we wanted to talk about the first 6 books today because we've been dying to talk about this series on this podcast.
So as long as you have read through book 6, no spoilers. And I also have not read any of the novellas or side series or anything like that. So you just need to have read the main series, books 1 through 6, to listen today. I'm sure we will do another episode when I have finished the series. And potentially, if we both get really into Ruthless Boys, maybe we'll do an episode there. But today, it's just those first 6. So I want to return to the bagel conversation, okay? Because here is the thing. Number one, I know what this series is, so like this isn't actually a real complaint, but there is a bagel inconsistency that I have found.
Oh, okay.
Because initially I was like, where in the world is Geraldine getting these bagels? And I posted about that on my Instagram. I was like, where is Geraldine getting these bagels? And everyone was like, oh, she makes them every day. She makes them every day. But I came across a scene where she talks about having to get up and get to the calf to get the bagels.
Yeah.
At the cafeteria.
And I think I felt the same way. I feel like when they were at the school, she was just going in there and hogging all the bagels in the morning. Like she was like going to the, and just like stashing them up. But then she started to make her own bagels, along the way.
Oh, so maybe that's the explanation, is she just got really into hogging bagels that she just decided mid-series that she was going to start baking them in her tiny
In saying that, she does then seem to go on to have a really specific, like, special recipe that you actually want a Geraldine bagel. Like, it's an extra special bagel. It's buttery and delicious. So, yes. And I'm not sure what you're up to in the book. I don't want to give too much away because the bagels become a huge thing as the books go on. Like, they just get more and more. It's like, you think you've had enough bagels. No, you have not. Like, Enter Stage Left, the whole last 3 books filled with bagels. So many bagels.
Okay, well, as of book 6, it feels inconsistent, is all I'm going to say. Is I'm in book 6, and it sort of feels like nobody exactly knows the source of the bagels. Okay. That's where I'm at. And I hope other people relate to me because, and I want to know the kind. Are they an everything bagel? Are they an Asiago bagel? Are they, like, is a blueberry bagel? Is she?
What's the difference? I've never heard of an Asiago bagel.
What?
No. Tell me, you better explain to me what that is. I just know,
okay.
Bagel.
I wish I had one to go get and show you.
Yeah.
No, I keep
earlier.
I have no control with bagels. I would just eat. They're like, sometimes when we go to like a store, I'll get like, you can get like a dozen for like cheaper or something. And I'll have like 3 bagels in a day. I'm not even kidding. I love bagels that much. An Asiago bagel. Imagine a bagel, and then it just has like crispy Asiago cheese on top. You know how like when like Parmesan or Asiago kind of like
Asiago cheese. What the hell is Asiago cheese?
What Asiago cheese is? It's kind of like a Parmesan.
Okay.
It's like it's kind of like a Parmesan. It's like a hard cheese.
Okay.
very, like
Pungent.
pungent, exactly. And then when it kind of melts a little bit, it then gets really crispy. And so then they put that Asiago on top and they let it get crispy and browned. So then it's like a
Yes.
crispy cheese topping, very pungent, and oh, it's so good.
So is it a little bit like, I don't know, I'm guessing our Subways all have the same kind of breads, and there is like is it the
Kind of,
Italian?
yeah.
I don't know, there's the cheese kind of anyway,
They
anyway,
have
I know what you mean.
yeah.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's a
But
cheese, crispy
usually
cheese topping.
a really good one. Okay, my favorite bagels are from Panera Bread in the States.
Mhm.
And like it has like a really thick layer of cheese on top. I feel like
Nice.
we've really lost the plot today.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. We're just gonna have to call this episode Geraldine's Bagels because all we've talked about so far is food. We haven't even gotten into the actual Zodiac
Yeah,
Academy
yeah.
aspect of it yet.
I am hungry, to be fair, and I was considering getting Panera Bread, and now I might actually get Panera Bread and have a bagel for dinner.
I know. Anyway, that's what happens when you talk about this. All right. Let's get into now. I feel like the best way to start with this is because I finished the book and I don't want to accidentally give away a spoiler. Tell us what happened at the end of book 6,
Okay.
like where you're up to. So I kind of know where the finish line is. So I know, right, don't go past that, Nicole, like back before then.
Okay, so book 6 ends on yet another emotionally torturous cliffhanger.
Yep.
We are at the last couple chapters. They are battling Lionel in the big, like Coliseum style stadium thing, and Darius has gone off with the brother whose name I cannot remember at this moment in time.
Not
The
important.
characters, there's
Yeah.
so many characters. The brother to Tori and Darcy, and like has like
Gabriel.
Thank you. So Darius and Gabriel have like gone off to some sacred place, and Darius interacts with some like voice
Being.
that's like, you have to seal your fate or something, and he basically trades away. He is able to ensure that Tori and Darcy will win the battle. Tori is released from Lionel's
Bond. Yeah.
guardian bond, but he has to trade away that he only lives for one more year. And that is where it ends. So that was heartbreaking. After a series of incredibly
we've already had a lot of drama at this
so
point.
much drama.
This series is pure drama, and I'm all for drama and slow burn and tragedy, but this really takes it to the next level. Like, firstly, hate Lionel so passionately, like I want to stick pins in through his eyeballs, like how much I hate the man. But this book, the first, like, I remember getting warned that it was a bullying romance, that, and so I really pushed myself through that first book. I felt like this was the kind of series where it was the first book that really was going to be tough, because it starts with this place where the 4 boys are just so mean to Darcy and Tori, and they're trying to get them to leave and go back to the mortal realm. And it's really challenging to read that, but I knew that it would probably all make sense down the track, so I kind of pushed through, and that was fine. And of course, then probably the next 2 books, we're still very much in that school kind of situation, a little bit Harry Potter, a little bit Vampire Diaries. We're starting to see little snippets of the boys actually being nicer underneath. Well, most of them. I still hate Seth. Still to this day, I don't like Seth. I still don't even really... I still can't bring myself. He was so mean, because he was a real instigator to me. Of the 4 boys, he was a real instigator. And yeah, as we go further on down the books, they kind of make him like he's quite likable, but I still don't like him. That's a frustration on my behalf. I just feel like one of them should have actually been bad.
Yeah, I struggle a lot with some of the things that he did and continued to do, right? It's like, Darius did the one bad thing, but then that was kind of it, Seth freaking peed on her. Like, I can't get over that, like that's, I don't know that I'll ever like Seth.
Yeah, held her over like a cliff face and was like, oh, should we just drop her? Like, he wasn't caring. I don't care. Yeah, I mean, we find out, I think, even more as we go on, even past you, as to like where that all came from. But I still feel like there was a lot of personal motivation there for Seth as well. So actually, yeah, I feel like it could have been very interesting for the book for him to turn villain, but we'll have to talk more about that at the very end of the whole 9 books when you've done them. But we've already had a lot of drama. So first you start with the bullying. Then you finally, I mean, you're going to have to talk about how you felt at the end of book 4. I couldn't actually remember when you were reading it and you were reading book 3 and 4. I was getting, like, I read those 2 books so quickly. I couldn't remember which one had the epic, like, Darius and Tori coming together. And then
at the same time that Lionel gets stabbed. It's like, it's like it went up a notch. I will say for the first like 3 books, the thing that kept me going was the romance with Darcy and Orion. Like,
yes.
if that hadn't been there and had that forbidden romance that kind of kicked off right away, I think I would have like really struggled to get into it.
Yeah.
But thankfully it did. And so like the first 3 books are just kind of like fun, you know, like I think I literally read the first 3 books in like a week. Like, I went through them so fast. Had them on like 1.5 speed because I did audiobooks. And then book 4 ends with Tori like not accepting the mating bond or whatever, the mating bond, and then Lionel gets, or not Lionel, Orion, sorry, the names are like so hard. Orion gets stabbed and almost dies, and we don't actually even know if he's okay at the end of book 4. So you're literally like, oh my god. And that scene with Darius and Tori where Darius is like begging her, like, please don't do this, you don't understand, please don't do this to us. I cried, and I do not cry in books, and I cried during that. And at one point I was listening on my phone, right? And my husband takes my phone and like tries to do something with it. I don't even know, but he messes up the audiobook.
You're like, stop it!
And I like screamed at him. I was like, give me my phone. I was so mad. I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh,
do you know how emotionally invested I am in this right now?
Yeah. I was like, give me my phone. He's like, I just need to do this thing. I was like, I don't care. You can do it later. Nothing is as important as this.
And they just like never understand that. I swear to God, husbands, they never understand. Like they get so like, oh, why are you spending so much time reading? And it's like, because an epic moment is happening and this is hugely important. And it's like, they're just like, you're not like talking to us. You're not talking to anyone. You're being very antisocial right now. And it's like, yeah, well, obviously there is a lot going on right now. I'm in emotional turmoil and I need it all to be okay. I literally
I could barely breathe. My heart is palpitating. I cannot speak it to you.
But I had to laugh because as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh no, they're mates, you know, and she's getting that call. And then I'm like, fuck, she's going to say no. She's going to say no to the mate bond because she wasn't ready yet. You know, she wasn't in that place. She was like, I don't think I like you. And he obviously understood the enormity of it. And he's like, we have to say yes. I will spend the rest of my life making up to you all the terrible things I've done to you. I did not realize you were my mate. And she's just like, I don't want to be connected to you for the rest of my existence. Like, no. And she says no. And then hearing Ali's messages to me, reading this, it was so good.
I just didn't Nicole voice memo because I just was not okay.
Ali was crying. I don't think I've ever heard Ali cry like this, like full on sobbing.
I absolutely was. And it was like midnight too, my time. It was super late. And I immediately downloaded book 5 and started listening. I had to at least like, even though I knew that like it wasn't going to get resolved in the time that I could stay awake, I just like had to at least get a couple chapters through and be like, okay. You know,
and then it just gets worse because then she goes and hooks up with Caleb straight afterwards, and you're like, no, don't do that.
And then through all of book 5, Darius is like the sweetest. He is bringing her coffee every day, running with her every day. Like, I absolutely loved book 5. I think so far book 5 was my favorite.
Yeah.
Because you get spice from Tori and Darius, you get the like longing, the slow burn between them, and you really get kind of like the peak of the first, what I'm assuming is the first arc of Tori and Orion. I'm hoping there's more of that. I assume there will be. But yeah, I loved book 5. I thought it was so good. But then it ends with Lionel getting arrested or not. Man, I keep saying Lionel. Orion getting arrested,
Yeah.
which is another cliffhanger. And you're like, oh my God.
More drama. More drama.
More drama. And then all of book 6 is just like so much drama.
Yeah.
And then when it ended in book 6, I mean it was a great ending, but I found myself feeling kind of frustrated that like they never can win. Like they're always losing. And I just was like, I need to take a little break. So I have taken a small break from reading.
It makes so much sense that you wanted to take a break at that point. I am still feeling a degree of burnout after reading the full 9 books all together. For me, I felt like if I didn't keep going, I was just never going to finish it. And I had so many people I spoke to. Everyone said the same thing. It seems to be between book 7 and 9 that people stop reading. And I really had this that I adamantly wanted to finish the whole thing. And so I just kept pushing. But I have to admit that as awesome as these books are, as awesome as they are, because they literally hit every romantasy trope that I adore. I absolutely adore.
They have it all.
There's a lot of tragedy. The last 3 books are very, very long. I actually got over spice. I got to the point where I was so tired of a spice scene that I was just like, yep, next, great. I'm going to skip it because it's not important. It's not priority to the book and I need to get these things finished. Like, can you believe I'm saying that?
I can't. I'm like shocked.
But yeah, I think I said to Ali, if you need to take a break and have a palate cleanser, possibly go do that, because you need to kind of, probably doesn't hurt to pace yourself with these books just to try and go, okay, I'm going to take a little break and come back and get to the end, because it's a lot. There's so much to read. And if you went and read the entire thing, including novellas, including The Ruthless Boys, like you are going to have like nearly 12 months of reading right there.
Yeah. I initially really wanted to do that order that they recommend where after book 3 you pivot and go read 5 other books. I just couldn't. I was like, I just can't. I need to keep doing this.
And I'm actually
I
glad I
would have burned
didn't,
out
because
even before book 6. So
if I had done that, I would have rushed The Ruthless Boys. I would have just tried to rush read them, because I would have been like, I need to get back to the core series because I want to know what happens, and I wouldn't have been present and really enjoyed it. And I've heard that's actually such a good series, so I'm actually quite keen to go and do that separately and just really enjoy that as its own separate series. So I'm not feeling guilty about that. It's actually so funny. I've got a good friend at the moment online that is reading Throne of Glass for the first time right now. I know, like, I'm just like, you are so lucky. Like, I'm like, I wish I could do what you're doing again, because reading Throne of Glass for the first time. Anyway, she finished the second book, and I recommended to her that like a recommended kind of thing is now to read the prequel next and then go on. But of course, it's even at the end of book 2, it's so hard.
Really hard. Yeah.
You've just gotten massive shocks about who Selena really is, and now you have to go back and pre-read this other book. It's so hard, but also just amazing.
Well, and I was also feeling as I was, because I mean, this is taking months and months of my time to get through even just 6 books. I mean, it takes time, and I was listening pretty fast, and shirking all responsibilities in order to listen by the end. But then like the FOMO of all the other books that are coming out, like starts to hit you. Like I can't imagine reading nothing but this series for like a year. I would just feel like I missed out on so much. So I paused it. At book 6, I definitely want to finish the series. I think I will. I just like, I needed a little palate cleanser, and I went and listened to a, like probably a 60,000 word, book on like a rom-com about a tornado chaser and his like student. And like if you need like a very silly palate cleanser book, I highly recommend Whirlwind by Kayla Gross.
Oh my gosh.
It's literally like Twisters, but with like actual romance. Like in like this, I don't even think this is a spoiler. In like the second chapter of the book, this like professor who's a professor of meteorology and his like student who's like, she's in grad school, so it's not like a massive age gap. They like go chase a tornado together. They like make a bad decision. They end up in the tornado. He's like laying on top of her in the tornado. The tornado, they survive it, and then they like have, you know, there's like a spicy scene in the tornado ditch.
It's like for the tornado chasers out there, it's like
Yeah.
Twisters but with romance.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. It was so silly.
Actually, that could be
I thought it
great.
was so funny.
That sounds like random, but super
It was
cute.
really random. Yeah. But I'm from Oklahoma, which is where like all the tornadoes are.
I used to love tornadoes and be so fascinated with them and be like, I want to be a tornado chaser when I grow up. You know, I was from the era that watched Twisters and, you know, loved it. So,
oh, you should read this book then. I think you would love it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's literally like 4 hours of audiobook. It's so quick. It's such a short little book.
I don't even know what that means.
I know.
I have to admit, like, I'm reading Gods and Monsters right now, which I'm really enjoying, by the way. It's such a good series. But I do feel like ever since Zodiac Academy, I actually think I need to do a palate cleanser. I feel like I've just now been so overdone with the tropes and the romantasy and the spice and everything that I feel like it should be hitting differently, but because I'm a little bit burnt out with it, I'm going, oh, this trope again. Like, not that I am in the third book and it's really, really good, but I think when I finish this, I may go and read something different just to try and palate cleanse myself so I can be really excited about romantasy and all the tropes again, because
you need a palate cleanser. You really do. And
I don't want to, but
can I finally get you to read a hockey romance is the question. Because you know how much I love my hockey romances.
I know. I guess it depends on, like, it has to be, I think it's all about the guy and the, you know, like the story they bring around it. You know, like
there's very little hockey in hockey romances. Let's be realistic here. There's very little hockey. It's just the setting, you know, it's just a little backdrop.
Yeah. It's just because we know there are lots of good-looking ice hockey players, and so that's where it all stems from, I imagine.
Yeah. So speaking of the guy, let's get ourselves back on track.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to talk about each of the like guy characters and kind of like what my thoughts are on them. You have already talked about Seth. Hard agree. I don't know that I will ever forgive Seth. And to be honest with you, he goes from being annoying because he's mean to being annoying because he's clingy. Like, I'm not into him. I am in the book. There are starting to be, you know, like this foreshadowing that him and Caleb might end up together, which I'm fine with. At least then, like, they have at least they both kind of, it closes the circle, right? And all of the boys find love. But I also kind of feel like Caleb deserves better. Like,
I think this is exactly one of my feelings about the future books. You know, without giving too much away, there is some interesting romances, and I had to dig deep to ask myself, am I like, is this just not my style? Is this like, okay, I'm trying this, you know, it's not my style. And then there's also or is it just that I actually don't like these characters very much? And I think the big thing was, as I said, I actually think a more interesting twist to the story would have been Seth being a villain rather than getting a happy ending. I obviously love Caleb. Caleb's fabulous. And I really wanted good, you know, a nice outcome for him as well. But especially because he was so good with Roxy, like with Tori. I feel like he was really I don't know, just, you know, once he realized that she was actually like star-crossed lovers with Darius, he like stepped right back and he was like, no.
I loved that. I love that there was no like love triangle for really any amount of time. For like the minute that she went and like slept with him, but like that's it. And like as soon as he realized it, the love triangle aspect was gone, and I was happy because I know a lot of people like a love triangle. I do not. It's not a trope that I enjoy.
No,
I actually really like romances, and have read some great romances. So I you know, maybe keep trying, but I just think it's that you don't like Seth.
Exactly.
And speaking of Caleb, I feel like what's so impressive is like it's pretty much clear from the beginning that Caleb is not endgame, and yet I still enjoyed the romance that developed between Tori and Caleb, even though I knew it wasn't like where it was going to end up.
Yeah.
Like, so I thought that was a really
Of the
impressive.
4, Caleb was sort of the nicest. He was the nicest. He sort of, she became his blood bag or whatever, but he was just the nicest of the 4 to them, and probably the first one that wasn't so bad. And then who was the other one? Max is the other one. He was probably the quietest of the 4. He was bit more on the bad side, but not fully bad. I like where Max goes, which he's still got a bit more journey to go yet. I can't remember if you've been introduced to his possible love interest.
Yeah, definitely. Like they've been foreshadowing Geraldine and for a while. Right at the moment, it's at kind of an impasse because she's like saying that she's going to go marry this person that she's been betrothed to.
But I love it because Geraldine comes across as this goody two-shoes kind of character, and yet she also, like, there's absolutely this kind of like mates connection with them, and he can't keep himself away from her. Like,
I know. I'm excited to see more of their romance. Okay, while we're talking about Geraldine, there is something that you did not experience, but I am sure other listeners have experienced, which is if you started with the graphic audios, which is what I did, Geraldine, the way that she is portrayed in the graphic audios is so different from how she's portrayed in the like regular series. In the graphic audios, they give her this like deep, almost manly voice. Like she sounds like what Darius's betrothed, I can't remember her name.
Oh, Mildred.
She's in the graphic audios. It's like they swap them. Mildred has a southern accent and Geraldine has the like beefy accent. And then you like get into the regular, it was the wildest experience. I was like,
well, see what I did, I read the first 4 books. I read them, and then I actually switched over to audiobooks from there. So I actually missed the graphic audios. I didn't mean to do it that way. It was just that I had the books, and so I read them. And then when I got to the 4th one, I hadn't, and I desperately needed the next book, so I just downloaded it, and then I started doing the audio, and that went straight into just the dual audio, which took a little bit of getting used to, but then I actually didn't mind them too much. I thought they both actually did a pretty good job of actually making themselves sound like the particular characters. And I have to say, I had imagined Geraldine's voice in my head, and she was very goody two-shoes, like, A grade student, but she seemed like a nerd. Like, I was kind of thinking she was kind of like that. But then she was hooking up with Max. I was like, oh, but then when I heard her and she came across as a Southern belle, I was like, oh, that works so well with the way they'd written it. I could really see how it was meant to come across. It worked really, really well with her character. And Mildred sounded awful, which was also exactly what I expected of her character. So they were fairly accurate representations.
It was weird. But though I will say I like loved Darius and Orion
in the graphic audio.
In the graphic audios. It was so
I bet they
hard.
mastered them.
They were so good. And it's a full cast. So like the person playing Seth is different from the person playing Caleb, is different from the person playing, Darius. So it was really hard after like 4 books to then switch to just dual narrators, and like especially a guy doing a girl voice and a girl doing a guy voice. Like that, it took me some time to kind of like reset myself. And the Geraldine difference, what's crazy is I did not like Geraldine because of the way that she was portrayed in the graphic audios. And I was like, I don't know why they're friends with this girl. But then when she was a Southern belle, it like all made so much more sense. I was like, okay, I get it. Like, so
she's much more likable. It really shows why it's so important that characters are portrayed the way they're meant to be portrayed. It's interesting. So I would imagine the dramatic audio is a more recent filming than the
It is.
dual audio. Because the dual audio is almost, I would almost say it's a classic style of dual audio nowadays. Because I feel like even in the last year or two, they've modernized so much. Like, for example, we hate when the male has to do the female voice and the female has to do the male voice. It just never sounds good, ever. And
No.
it's so much better when we've seen it done with like Bryn Weaver's books. We've seen it done with Lights Out, where they have the male and female in the room and they're back and forthing like it's an actual, like it's acted out.
Right.
And then of course you get the characters and it just sounds so much better. So we're seeing that with some of the more recent audiobooks, but these are obviously just done before that time.
Yeah. Darius's voice in particular was like hard to let go.
Oh.
Because
I'll have
his
to go and
voice
listen
in
to
that
them
was,
just
like,
to get
so
his voice.
sexy.
Oh, I can only
So into
imagine.
it.
I should just
And
go
then
and
to
get
go
like
to
the
like a
fourth book or
woman narrating
something.
it was
Oh,
tough. But
Darius is like my favorite. Oh, he was my, yeah. It's worth reading this series just for Darius. Like Orion's good, but for me, I'm a Darius girl. Like next level, that's who I'm all about. Dragon, like, and that's the thing, right? It hit like our tropes so much. Like if you love, like it's dragons, it just everything you could kind of want in, well, it's not really a shadow daddy per se, but like just your dark bully romance, morally grey, dragon, super powerful.
Pegasuses. I mean,
Everything is in there. Like literally everything we wanted from other books. Something I think I was going to talk about was I actually really liked in these series how they explored star-crossed lovers, because I think we've often spoken about mates, and something we often talk about in Sarah J. Maasland is what would happen if someone said no to their mate's connection, and what would that mean for people. This was one of the first times we'd seen that explored in a series where someone actually said no to their mate and they actually became star-crossed lovers. In this series, it leads a really dark path. You actually now are forever unable to even get close to that person without the gods interfering and striking lightning down at you. But you're also unable to be away from them either. So it just leaves you absolutely miserable and alone. Like it's a horrible existence, basically. Like you would just not do it to yourself. As the others say in the book, they're like, why would you not say yes? They were like, I would say yes to anyone if they were my mate. Like I would never, ever say no. But of course, Tori being someone not from there, she didn't understand the impacts of what she was deciding and what it was going to do.
Yeah. Well, and I like the concept that like, even if you say no, you will still continue to like pine for them. Like they will still be in your life. It's not like you get to say no and just go your separate ways.
It's not like before.
It's you say no and you're still like they're still always orbiting around you. And I love it's unique and funny and unique and fun, and then it leads to like very funny things that happen to like keep them apart. Like I remember at one point I was like explaining to my husband what was happening, and I was like, yeah, and they can't be around each other, or like it's earthquakes and thunderstorms and but then they do it anyway and they're kissing and the ground is falling apart, and he was like,
I know, and I was there the whole time like trying to solve the riddle, and I'm like, go to the mortal realm, there's no magic on the mortal realm. And then they did, and it was better. They were able to kind of go on a date and stuff, but it did still interact there as well, just not as badly.
There was a time where I was thinking that like the mortal realm, they would actually truly be able to be together. Like they wouldn't impact them at all. And so I was like, oh, they're going to end up there and they're going to have to like coordinate back and forth. I was happy the way that it went, but it was really interesting.
Yeah. I would have actually kind of not minded it if they'd been like, this is our little oasis here in the mortal realm, and we can kind of be together here, but we can't be here for too long because it's sort of, we need to go back. But anyway, it was really interesting. I really liked that twist. I mean, not only was it painful and tragic, and the yearning it creates was insane, but it was just this is why this is the peak part of this series, because it's such a emotional turmoil time. It's just that it's really hard. It takes so much for them to come back from that, and then just when they finally get that problem resolved, a 10 times worse problem presents itself.
Right. Yeah. They can't win. They get the stone, but they can't use it. They like it, it just they get Orion back, but he's under house arrest. It's just you feel like
the issue I have is there's too much of them losing and not enough of them winning. And Lionel is just able to get away with too much stuff. Like it's so frustrating. You needed him to lose occasionally to kind of be like, oh, finally they got one up on Lionel. It was kind of like he was just always outmaneuvering them when really he doesn't actually have that many allies. He really just has the Shadow Princess, Mildred. He's kind of got the media and the power of the sort of the country on side, but he doesn't have the four heirs. He doesn't have, they're all starting to turn now towards the twins and that. So it's sort of, I would have liked to, I don't know. I think it could have been done differently, but we can, of course, talk more about that next time. But what did you think about this as a general world and magic system, and even the introduction of the Zodiac Academy into this, the daily horoscopes that they get, stuff like that?
Yeah, I know. Honestly, at first, I will say it was overwhelming to be like, okay, they're fae, but they can be a vampire or a Pegasus or a dragon or a Cerberus or like all these things. And then there's like the stars and the Zodiac Academy, and then all the different ways that they can do magic, and then there's elemental magic. It just, at first I was like, oh my god, they crammed everything into this world. I to be honest, at first I was a little like, I didn't like it, but then it grew on me because they do it so well, and they really do stretch out the world building, and it just has such a lighthearted kind of tongue-in-cheek, like if they made like a 20 season TV series about this, I would watch every season. I would be so, it would be like Vampire Diaries, Gossip Girl.
Exactly.
Like I would be all about it. But for a book, initially it was like, I thought it was too much.
It just had all that drama that you would get in your typical Vampire Diaries. Even that typical thing where just as you think everything's going to go well, something even worse happens, and a new villain enters, and suddenly it's all going bad again. The drama never ends. Which is probably why eventually we got to like season 9 or something, then we stopped watching it. But still, that's but it's also very enjoyable. You feel like you can jump into any part of it. You know what the characters are up to. Like occasionally I'll be listening to the audio and I kind of, you sometimes check out. You just sort of be doing stuff. You don't really pay attention. Then you check back in and it's like, I haven't missed anything. I thought I was talking about Geraldine's bagels or something unimportant. Like it's nothing too vital.
I know, that was the thing that I liked about it, and the reason I was able to listen so fast is like I could put it on at work and be doing other tasks at work, while I'm like answering emails or like building a slide deck or something, and it it doesn't have, you don't have to have every single detail to really enjoy it. It's a vibe. And I like the vibe. I'm here for it.
Yeah. So you're at book 6. Where do you think it will go from here? What would you like to see next?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, Darius better not die in a year. That better not be how this ends, or I'm gonna riot. He can die for a minute as long as he comes back, right? That's fine.
Yeah, so like how Rhysand died. Yeah,
exactly. I suspect he will die at a moment for a minute and then come back because we did see the future. I do think Darcy and Orion will be endgame. I think they'll get back together. I don't think she's interested in anyone else. I'm not 100% sure yet if they are going to be mates or not, if they're going to have an Elysian bond. I could see it kind of going both ways. Of course I want them to, but I could also see them not doing that and like me kind of being fine with it. Because, it does bring a lot of heartache. It's, Darcy has seen what it did to Tori. Obviously, I think they're probably going to lose more. I don't know that they're going to start to win. I wish there was a bigger baddie than Lionel. I hope there is. I hope they, for me, ideally, they would defeat Lionel in the next book, and then they'd really, the Shadow Princess would become the actual villain,
Exactly. That's exactly how I would have thought it could have gone. That you might defeat someone but then there's something even bigger. And whether that's you kill the Shadow Princess and then it's Lionel, or Lionel and then it's the Shadow Princess, or there's something else, another entity entirely. Obviously I can't give away what happens. There is some interesting stuff that unfolds, but yeah. In saying that, I feel like without giving too much away, so many of the tropes I wanted to see, the epic endings I wanted to see actually happen. Like, I'm like, it's so cool what they did. There's just so much filler in these later books. That's so much that you just start to go, oh my God, get to the story already. Get to the like,
Yeah.
and that's where the frustration lies. There is all this great stuff in amongst all this filler. They just made the last books, the last 3 books should have been 2, and then it would have been a much better read. It would have been so much more engaging, but they just dragged it out way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they're not going to go back to Zodiac Academy, but I don't know where they're going to go. But maybe they will. That's what I just, I could see. I just, with 3 books, I don't know that they can be away from the Academy for 3 whole books, but I also don't know how they go back. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Maybe they're going to go, okay, I'm going to make a prediction. Maybe they're going to go and like hang out at Geraldine's place and then like maybe have their own little secret school, kind of like Fourth Wing, kind of like in Onyx in Iron Flame, where they like take their friends to Geraldine's secret giant castle and do school there. Maybe that's what will happen. I suspect there will of course be some tension around who's going to rule, because Darius is still like, even though he's in love with Dory, he's like, nope, I'm still going to be.
And even though he's going to potentially die in a year now, like, he's still like, oh no, I'm going to be the king. And it's like, what, for 5 months?
For what?
Like,
yeah, exactly. I think Tori and Darcy are going to take the throne, and then I think the four counselors will kind of like, they'll just have the 4 counselors underneath them, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's kind of hard to predict it, because it's like, if there was 1 book left, I would be able to make predictions. But knowing that there's 3 books, I'm like, well, a lot can still happen.
Yeah.
And I know a lot does still happen.
Well, some of your predictions are very interesting, and there are still some things that happen that you have not predicted. So you will have surprises, and you will have not surprise, things that you're like wanting to happen that you're like, oh yes, that happens. Like, there's all the tropes we know are going to happen, and we're just waiting for them to unfold. It is really worth the read. It's painful, but it is worth getting to the end and going, okay, that's how it all ends up. And I'm so excited. I've seen that Carolyn Peckham is releasing a new book that looks really interesting as well. And I mean, I do really trust these guys. Do write great books. Like, they're so engaging. Engaging, and I'm sure they're only going to get better and better as they become more experienced as well. So I know it looks really good. It has a really nice cover anyway, so
I'm gonna have to look.
Cover wins me over.
Yeah, that'll be. It's just her, not with.
I think so. Well, it's posted on her social media. I'll have to double check, but yeah, I think it's just Carolyn Peckham, not her sister. But don't hold me to that. I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Anyway, any other final thoughts on Zodiac Academy before we wrap up today? We'll obviously bring you guys another episode when Ali has finished the series, and we might break down a bit more into each book and what we thought, and then our overall opinion of the series. But any final thoughts of today's?
It's good. I'm ready for a win, and it'll probably be another month or so before I keep going. I think I still need a little bit more time away from it. But because I think once I start book 7 again, I'll just do all 3 in a row. Like, I don't think I'll take another break. So I need to have my palate be fully cleansed before I go back. But
fully cleansed.
I can't believe it took me this long to read them. Honestly, people have been telling me to read them for years. I don't know why I never did.
Yeah, I know. We had seen them there. I think they're just so big, and just had other things that had come up that I just caught my interest before it. But yeah, they're so good. They're really, if you love Harry Potter and ACOTAR and, Vampire Diaries, it's going to be so up what you enjoy. It really is. It's such an enjoyable read. Except for all the pain and suffering and endless losses and all that sort of thing. It's a really enjoyable read. What am I saying?
For sure.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for listening in on this episode. Please rate, review, subscribe. Let us know what you think. And we'll bring you, if you like this, we can bring you more Zodiac Academy. Let us know. But otherwise, have a fabulous day. Have a fabulous week and enjoy happy reading. Bye.
Bye.